I envision 3 female attorneys coming together to have our voices heard. Each of us would have different opinions, different passions, different backgrounds, and different views. Although we are different and unique, we are able to come together to discuss our experiences, navigating through the legal profession and this thing called life. Now, the vision has come alive, and we invite you each and every week to listen to us as we talk about what's trending in the news and our legal insight, tackle real-life issues that affect not only us as attorneys, but us as women of color. Disclaimer: this podcast is intended to provide entertainment and general information. The information provided and the views given are not intended to constitute legal advice and should not be relied upon as legal representation. All views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever we are affiliated with now or will be affiliated with in the future. Hi guys, it's your girl Brandy and welcome to another episode of No Further Questions. I hope everybody has had a good week and had a good month starting off. It is officially fall. It's October. Fun times happen in the fall. Pumpkin spice season and pumpkin. Sam, you turning up with, you don't like pumpkin spice. It's okay. You're not a Cowboys fan either, and we're still friends. So it's football season. The Cowboys are winning. So yeah, great times. But before we get started, let me introduce you to my girls again. Sam with his look, and the Dallas Cowboys are winning. Go ahead.
Hi guys, it's Sam Fraze. The great thing about the Cowboys fans is no matter what happens at the end of the year when they're knocked out of the playoffs, they're always going to come back next year and say they're going to win the Super Bowl. Good for them. What a courageous spirit. More importantly, R. Kelly's going to jail, guys. Can I get an amen?
But not this season. Taria, reintroduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's Taria. Why is it when the fall happens that we talk about pumpkin spice? It's really not good. It's kind of like candy corn. It's just there and it's not necessary. And so fall is here, sweaters, scarves, Thanksgiving, get you a cuddle buddy. Enjoy the leaves changing.
It is cuffing season. This is the time.
Oh, cuffing. Yes.
Yeah, it's cuffing season. So, it's the time to go through your tryouts and stuff. So, it's getting a little cool. And pumpkin spice is not the same as candy corn. I'm putting that on the record. It's not the same. Candy corn is absolutely disgusting.
Pumpkin spice is it's like when you go to somebody's house for Thanksgiving, you cut into a slice of pie and you put it in your mouth and you're like, oh, this is sweet potato pie. Nope. Pumpkin.
Well, first of all, I'm still sweet potato all day long. So I don't even like pumpkin pie. I just only like pumpkin spice latte and pumpkin spice old fashioned. I'm about to make that. Let y'all know how that turns out.
That sounds disgusting. But please let us know how the old fashioned turns.
I will let you know how that goes. Well, as everybody knows, the two biggest topics going on right now is R. Kelly is going to jail. He is found guilty. Woo! And we're excited. And in honor of
R. Kelly,
since this is October, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So in regards to Domestic Violence Awareness Month, that's a good win for domestic violence survivors because he has been found guilty. He is going to jail. A lot of times it is difficult to prosecute a domestic abuser. So this is a good win. Also, we're talking about what's hot and trending is Dave Chappelle's new show, The Closer, that came out on Netflix about a week or so ago. And I hope people are able to watch it. I hope people have watched it that are voicing their opinions but we'll talk about that later. But let's talk about R. Kelly. Who wants to get started? R. Kelly going to jail. He doesn't get sentenced until next year, which I wish we did have a New York lawyer or whatever, because the trial's in New York, because I want to know why so long. But if y'all know that, but let's get started on R. Kelly.
My question is, now that he's locked up and they won't let him out.
Okay, Akon.
I know, right? Would y'all still try to go to a concert if they let him have one more concert in between him being locked up?
No. I stopped listening to R. Kelly music 2 years ago. And I will say this, I went to a family function and they were like, I don't care, I still like his music. And it just troubled me in my spirit. I mean, I love my family, but it's like every time you play his music, he gets money because he allegedly wrote those songs. I say allegedly because it's also been alleged he can't read or write. So but they, he gets royalties from those songs. So I'm not giving him a dime. I'm not giving him money on his commentary. R. Kelly, what I think should happen, I think that Usher should remake R. Kelly's entire catalog.
See, I'm a big Usher fan. However, some of those songs do not need to be remade because, a lot of them songs was based off the lives of those women. And so some of the songs that I can't listen to, because I'm like the one with You Are Not Alone with Michael Jackson did. And that was based off one of the girls was going through a miscarriage, or I think an abortion or a miscarriage. And that was about her. So I'm like, okay, so I could never hear that song again. And when I listen to R. Kelly songs, it does remind me like how many of these songs, because it has been said he can't read or write. So how many of these songs were basically based off of those women that he held captive and that he abused? So I could not. But I think if R. Kelly did do a concert, ought to be sold out. People are gonna go just to be nosy.
His music skyrocketed on streaming services, even though I thought they pulled it from streaming services. So I don't know, but allegedly his sales went up. And I'm just like, I know we were talking to Ria earlier off camera about like Black women and being devalued to a certain extent. And that's the type of stuff that angers me. You have these women saying he made them eat feces. He locked them in rooms for weeks and didn't let them eat. You have to ask him to use the bathroom. And it took 20 years, a 3-part documentary before this man was arrested. You cannot tell me people in the music industry did not know that these women were being held against their will. And I don't even want to, I know that domestic violence is a huge issue, but I feel like it's bigger than just domestic violence. Like I feel like he was almost terrorizing Black women. Did you notice that none of his victims were of any other race?
And I think, that's super sad. The other part of this is I don't think he's the only one who should have to go down. I think that there should be a laundry list of people going with him. And so he doesn't get sentenced until next year. In the meantime, let's get all the rest of them. Let's get all of the other men who are now sitting for interviews to recall and recant the stories of the tour buses that happened 19, 20, 30 years ago, and how they knew what was going on, but they turned the other way. We didn't have cell phones back then, so there was no recordings being done, but there are tons of enablers. There are tons of people who collected checks. There are tons of security guards. There are tons of parents who had a hand in these women being abused. And so I think to really, do what needs to be done by the prosecution in all these different legal entities is to really go after everyone, to make an example for everyone. If you know someone is being abused and you have the ability to say something, but you don't want to say anything because, well, you need your check to be cashed. And by the way, that is from one of the interviews that I watched, is there were some gentlemen who said, we knew what was going on, but if we stayed, our check doubled. So we stayed. And I think they watched and knew that he was having sex with Aaliyah at the age of like 12 or 13 years old. But they stayed to get their checks. And so there's a place for all of these people, for them to lift their eyes up one day. And I just hope that they can get some kind of satisfaction and justice here on this earth as well. So I wish that we could start Kelly would just put a whole list together and give it over to the prosecution. And let's just start taking everybody down.
He can't read or write, Taria.
Yeah, or make a record. Well, they did say that they are going after some of them. They did say now some of them that they are going to start prosecuting after this one. So I was reading that when he found guilty, that they were going to start prosecuting some of his people in his circle. Now they didn't say who, but.
And you know what? We all need to go out and listen to Sparkle's hit single, even though I think he may have wrote it, because Sparkle did try to warn us. She did try. She tried 20 years ago or 15 years ago when the videotape came out with her niece. She tried then and was shut down by the niece's parents.
I was like, she was shut down by her whole her entire family, and the girl lied and said that wasn't her.
But
for
then
the
it's
almighty
like,
dollar.
Yeah, but it's like, it's sad, but then you have to put yourself in that space. Like, well, if he's giving, let's just say $1 billion to not say anything, or you pursue this and you get justice and get him off the street, but you get nothing. That's basically the dilemma that they're faced with.
Well, I was watching Azriel Clarity's interview with Gayle King after the verdict came out. And she said in regards to her parents that R. Kelly manipulated her and Jasmine Savage into believing that their parents were only after money and that they were extorting them, saying, you know, they're making up these lies. They're asking him for $20,000 or they'll release, you know, these sex tapes of their daughter and him. And so when she, of course, came on the other side of this, you know, she didn't know that her parents were advocating and fighting for her release. She even said her parents didn't know anything what R. Kelly was doing to her because she never told them. So it was from them learning from the other women and victims that were with R. Kelly that their daughter was going through that. Because they said R. Kelly flew them to Chicago and was like, your daughter has a beautiful voice. I want to train her. I want to, you know, help her become a star. So they believed, and she was saying, you know, her parents really believed R. Kelly was genuinely there to help. They didn't know she was being, well, she didn't tell them that she was being molested. And one thing I also wanted to say, because we are talking about this, and since it is dealing with Black women, statistics show that Black women are the highest rate of domestic violence victims. Like we're the number one race in domestic violence. And so it's, to me, being a domestic violence and a sexual assault attorney, this gives me some type of gratification for Black women because we don't tend to get a lot of help. We tend to sweep our abuse under the rug because society doesn't always pay attention to us, doesn't listen to us, and doesn't have our back. So this is a huge win, and I'm excited for it.
Well, you know,
I think, I was going to say, when it comes to, I get what the young girl was saying about her parents not knowing, but I think in today's society, and I don't have children yet, but I'm learning a lot from the people around me who are parents, and they're saying that parenting is hard, right? And sometimes you have to take the extra steps. R. Kelly didn't just, this is not a 2-year in the making epiphany as to what R. Kelly was doing. There's been rumors for years as to what R. Kelly was doing. And so at some point, as a parent, as a mother, as a father, you have to go with your gut, and just letting your child go and be with grown men and trusting what's going on is not always the proper thing to do because your child wants to have a future in the music industry. We as parents and we as Black people have to take some responsibility for the reason why the statistics are so high when it does come to domestic violence for Black women. It's because a lot of people don't stand up for the Black woman when they're going through. A lot of people say, oh, well, she should have known better. Or, oh, well, she should have gotten herself out. Well, what are you doing to help her get out of it? What are you doing to give her a safe place? What are you doing to make sure that that man or that preacher or that teacher or the gymnastics coach is not taking advantage of her? And I think that that's some of the onus that those parents of those young girls are going to have to deal with for a long time coming, that they just, turn a blind eye. And that's what's really sad about the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely. And Azriel Clarity was with him for 5 years. So she said she left, but then went back because he would manipulate her. Like he would call her, manipulate her, and get her to come back. And then goes back to with the parents. My thing is, then why did the parents allow her to go back during that time when she left? And did you not see something wrong with your child? And we all grew up in like the 80s and the 90s and things. And I'm just saying, my parents was never letting me go with no grown man at 17 years old. I'm just saying, I don't care who you are. My parents were not allowing me to go with a grown man. I couldn't even go to some of these little high school parties and as a senior in high school. So, but
I couldn't even, honestly, I couldn't spend the night with people who had like brothers, or I only had one friend who I could stay at her house, I think, who had like a dad, and he's like a second father to me. So, but other than that, But I wish that they would have brought the women that were responsible for the surviving R. Kelly. I know one is Dream Hampton. She was like the executive producer, but I want to applaud some of the women who didn't give up, because I think that if the documentary hadn't surfaced, law enforcement wouldn't have taken a second look at this case. Because when you think about it, a lot of these cases were older, and some of the women were still being held captive, until he was arrested. I mean, you talk about Israel, in what's her name, Angela, the girl she was with, Jasmine, the one that they did that interview together, the joint interview.
Yeah, Jasmine.
Yeah, and
but I heard she's still in denial.
But the thing is that they were still with him up until the time he was arrested. And so I applaud the women, because the Surviving R. Kelly movement and the cancel R. Kelly and mute R. Kelly movement was years in the making. And so although we just heard about it in the last couple of years, this has been something that they've been working on for decades, trying to get law enforcement to relook into these women. And if it had not been for their documentary, for the mute R. Kelly movement, I know I still would have been stepping in the name of love,
during the holidays, family
during the holidays, believing I can fly.
I hope he can fly now.
He can fly in prison. Why does the caged bird sing? He needs to write that song.
No, but I think it also brings up another point. I don't know if we're going to do an episode on this, but maybe we should, about stop silencing. And I know this happens a lot in families, that there has, especially in the Black community, there's notorious to have, molestation and sexual assaults and domestic violence, and the family cultures in a lot of these Black families is to silence, the young girl or the older woman who's been dealing with it for years. And I think one thing that we can take away from Surviving R. Kelly, that documentary, some of those women were even ridiculed for saying something so many years later, but that is their voice, and he had stripped them of their voice. And at some point, that is a part of their healing, is just speaking out and getting their stories heard. And so for anyone that's listening, stop silencing your cousins, your nieces, your daughters, because Uncle Joe is now dead. Well, she still needs to tell her story. She needs to still talk about why she was molested. She needs to still talk about the abuse that she went through, because this is not okay. And it never has been okay.
And I piggyback on that, Tria, because that's so important that in our culture, a lot of times it happens so often. I think that part of us is desensitized to it. And it's like, oh, well, it happened to me, so this is what you do. And even though one person may be able to not talk about it or maybe talk about it in therapy and move forward, and the other person needs to prosecute or needs to tell the family or talk to people outside of therapy to heal, everyone's healing process is different. And just because it happened to you and you were able to move forward doesn't make it okay. And I think that in our culture, a lot of times we have, in a sense, protected that type of behavior because we don't want uncle to go to prison, or we don't want, uncle to get the electric chair, or to face the consequences. But at what cost?
Well, that's because there's also been told that if you say something, then uncle will go to jail and he will get the electric chair. And so somebody has got in their ear and, convinced them. And then also it's been passed down through generations because uncle also raped the mother, also touched, the other cousin. So they're like, well, I went through it, so you can survive it too. And that's why we do need to stop. We definitely need to stop and make it known and keep speaking about it. That's why it's great to have platforms like this too, so we can tell our community and those within the community to no, it's not okay to be silent. It's not okay. Listen.
But the key to that is what you said, Brandy, is important, is survival.
Yeah.
We have to stop thinking in a survival mentality. It's not about me just surviving with trauma. It's about me being able to heal and live a healthy and thrive from that. Now, nobody's saying that if you're molested or if you're raped, you can't move past that or heal from that. But we have to stop pressuring young women, especially young girls, teaching them it's about survival. You just have to survive. It's bigger than that. We have to address some of the mental and the emotional trauma that has happened to us and heal from that.
I absolutely agree. That's why it's okay for Black people to go to therapy and have Jesus.
Praise him and have an appointment, okay?
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
That's a good word right there. That's a good word.
Tell you what, pray for your therapist.
That part, because your therapist need a therapist too. So
pray for your therapist, okay? Pray God sends you a good therapist.
Right. But before we wrap up this segment of the domestic violence in R. Kelly, I just want to give a quick 1-800 number. So if you are a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault, then call 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-7233. And it's a very safe website. So if you are in a situation where you cannot call, find somewhere where you can. If you do call and get a hold of somebody, when you talk to the person, delete the number immediately out of your phone. If you're on the internet, because you can contact them, chat through the internet, they have a little link to where you can click on it and all the history of you Googling domestic violence will go away. So there are resources out there. Do not sit in silence. Do not sit alone. There's a lot of resources, and the websites are very user and safe friendly to where do not feel like, oh my gosh, if he goes back and checks my internet browser, it will be there. They have links to where you can click on it and it'll immediately erase it. And if you do reach out to somebody and tell a friend, do not be afraid to tell a friend. Tell a friend that you can trust. And if you are that friend, do not judge. Do not be judgmental. Do not be like, oh girl, get over it or whatever. Don't.
And let me say this too, to piggyback off of Brandy. Okay. Brandy and I probably have represented people who have been abused. Okay. There is this stigma attached to, oh, you think I'm stupid, or oh, I'm so, those are words that are put in your head by your abuser. There are women who make millions of dollars and who are being abused. There are women who are brilliant and educated and who are being abused. There are women who you would never even know. Now, me and Brandy have probably experienced this because we have represented all facets, okay? But I say that to say, no matter where you are economically, no matter where you are socially, get help. No one thinks you're stupid. That is something that your abuser has told you. That is language used by your abuser to keep you in the same situation. Get help.
I agree. And switching gears, let's talk Dave Chappelle.
Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. I feel weird about talking about the Dave Chappelle special though.
Did y'all watch it?
I did watch. I watched.
I've not watched
You have
it.
to watch it.
I will try to watch it so that I can. I was too busy watching the Squid Game.
I heard about that. I'm not gonna watch that.
Watching Korea. I haven't finished it. I ain't gonna ruin it for everybody, but
I'm gonna let y'all.
I was the second episode, and I was like,
I'm not gonna watch it. My hairstylist was telling me about it. I'm not gonna watch it. But listening to her telling me about it, I'm like, I'm good. I'll just see the memes on social media. I said, oh, this is what the memes on social media are about. Okay, got it. I'm up to date. That's all I need to know.
But I will watch the Dave Chappelle special now that I've finished the Squid Game. I can now watch it.
Did you enjoy the ending? I haven't watched it, but did you enjoy the ending?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Of the Squid Games?
Correct. I did not enjoy the ending. I was really upset.
Clickbait. Did y'all watch Clickbait?
I haven't watched.
I did. That's good. Watch that.
Yeah, but I didn't like
told me about
ending.
Clickbait. She told me the whole story, so I was like, I'm good.
I liked it. But I also like suspense thrillers, so I like that one. Squid Games is supposed to be suspense thriller.
It needs to be bigger.
I agree with that. Yeah, Squid Games. I was upset with the writer. The writer clearly needs to go to mental therapy or get some mental help as well, because they have childhood trauma. So,
Corinne, you were trying to send everybody to therapy.
I really do. I think everybody should go. Go at least.
You said Lil Nas X needs therapy.
He needs therapy.
The writer from Squid Game needs therapy.
Yes, R. Kelly needs therapy. But we
do they get therapy in jail? Do we know? Do you get therapy?
Yeah. They're supposed to give therapy, but the level of care depends upon which prison you go to.
Oh, that's what I want to say real quick about R. Kelly. This is gonna be very morbid. So I'm doing the same. This is morbid.
I'm a morbid person. Me, her.
Don't say it, Brandy. Don't say it.
I'm gonna say it. Do y'all think he's gonna survive in jail?
Yeah, he'll be right where he needs to be.
No, I'm thinking he may try to kill himself.
Oh no, I don't think so.
And do you think
he'll be a king in jail?
Really? I was thinking he may be somebody's girlfriend.
That too. He's definitely gonna be trapped in somebody's closet. But
1
he
through
likes
14.
That, right? He likes wearing little masks and popping out.
1 through 14. Because
but I think either one or two things. Either he's gonna be extorted, or he's gonna be like treated like a king. They're gonna be like, "Can you sing foreplay for us as we go to sleep?"
That's part of extortion.
He gonna be singing "I Believe I Can Fly" at the prison concerts.
Oh no, he gonna sing that for Christmas. They gonna two-step on at the
for you right, for the Christmas holiday. Gonna be a part of the Christmas program.
Okay, I just had to go there. Okay, back to Dave Chappelle. I I watched it. I made sure to watch Dave Chappelle before I gave any of my personal views. And from beginning to end, one, I thought it was good. Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. I thought it was really good. I thought it was well. I thought it was presented well. Yeah. I feel like, in my opinion, I think those who have something to say, they keep attacking the same thing. But if you watch it from beginning to end, it's literally the closer. It's like, but in conclusion, I've said all these things, and in conclusion, he makes a plea. He tells his story and he makes a plea. And so we're mad about what he says, but he was like, come talk to me. Sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. I'm not going to say any more jokes about the community until you come and sit down and talk to me. He really don't care. Because, I mean, he even threw in there, he was like, I walked away from $50 million from that $50 million, show. So Dave Chappelle is not worried about nothing. He's unbothered. But he literally, I feel like if you really paid attention to what he's saying, yeah, I don't see why people are mad.
Okay, so let me say this. I'm conflicted. And here's the reason why. When I watched it, I took a certain message from it. I felt that he had the way in which he was giving his stand-up, I feel like a lot of the message was missed by the majority. Mm-hmm. However, I'm also not a member of the trans community. So I don't feel like it's fair for me to say it wasn't offensive because I'm not a member of that community, So, and being a member of a minority community, you know what it feels like for somebody to say, oh, it wasn't that bad. And it's like, well, hold on, you're not Black. You're not a woman, so I'm not going to say that it wasn't offensive because I'm not a member of that community. However, I have seen a lot of the members who are saying to pull it, say they didn't watch it. So I would challenge them to watch it before they write it off. But then also, I have another question because Dave Chappelle talks about a lot of different things. He talked about the LGBTQA plus community. I hope I'm saying that correctly because we had a whole show on it. But I also heard him talk about the Me Too movement.
He talks about the Me Too movement.
He made a joke about veterans. He's always talking about race relations. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not saying one is more offensive than the other, but it does stand out to me that one group felt targeted in that particular stand-up because I feel like he also definitely made jokes about the Me Too movement.
Oh, he was very offensive about his joke about the Me Too movement. Very offensive. But he also even said, if you look at all of my other episodes, all my other shows, he said, I talk about the same people. He said, I talk about white people. He was like, I never strayed. He said, I have my issues with white people. I will go back and agree and say, you know what, let me not say nobody has, if you are offended, you have every right to be offended. You absolutely do. But there is no but. If you're offended, you have every right to be offended. So I'm not taking away from that anybody. When I see comedians offend everybody. That's what they do. Steve Harvey, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. So, and just to name a few, but comedians, Paul Mooney. So a lot of the comedians offend a lot of group of people. They have, that's their banter. That's just what it is. Now it makes sense that if people are asking for it to be pulled from Netflix, then if you didn't watch it, yeah, you need to watch it. because he literally at the end of the show, he talks about his friend, and it's a very heartfelt and warming story about his transgender friend who opened up for him.
And the transgender friend's sister came out in defense of him, of Dave Chappelle, which to me only gave credibility, because sometimes when you listen to stand-up, you're like, is he telling like a real story? Or is this like 100 years ago, or like just something that somebody else wrote? But to me, it gave credibility to the story.
And he did a trust fund for her daughter. Like, created.
And I will say this. Now I'm gonna sound old, but these young folks, I saw something on Twitter. Y'all know I like Twitter. That was like, yeah, Dave Chappelle saying all this he's willing to put on the line, and he's this rich Black man. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million. That's facts.
That is
no printer. Facts. So to try to minimize what he was saying, like, oh, he don't care about being canceled. He may not care about being canceled, but he has, like he said in his stand-up, put his money where his mouth is. And he was very clear why he walked away. He said because the jokes were no longer, he felt like people were laughing at him, not with him, when it came to the racial jokes. So yeah, I think that some of these young folks, before y'all cancel whoever you want, be offended if you want to, but also know history, know facts.
Know why you're canceling.
Yeah, I heard somebody calling him old, like he old and washed and trying to gain notoriety by this. And I'm like, have y'all watched any of his old stand-ups? Because Dave Chappelle is from the old school. He's not from these Instagram, this is how it looks when you go to the basketball game. This is how it looks when you go outside in the rain. He's not one of them wilding out comedians. That's
right. No, you're right.
He's
old school.
He's taking comedy as a craft. Like, y'all need to go back and watch Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. Like Eddie Murphy raw in the purple leather.
But I don't think they could. I don't. That's part of the cancel culture, right? They wouldn't be okay with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is offensive. Paul Mooney is very offensive, right? If we're talking about cancel culture, all of these guys would have been canceled. Some of the stuff that they've said over the years. I mean,
Dick Gregory. I mean, I'm just saying, like, some of the newer generation, I understand that. I'm not knocking the newer people who are coming out in comedy. Like, what is it? Young Fly, whatever his name is. But the people who are on Wild 'N Out and stuff, I'm not knocking them. They're funny, but
they're entertaining.
It's a different level and a different type of craft when you have to do a stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the history of comedy, like, go and watch Seinfeld. It's on Netflix. I was watching a show about nothing. I love Seinfeld, y'all. But Jerry Seinfeld, very offensive when he started talking about like Jewish culture and things like that. Adam Sandler, when he came out with Chanukah, people were offended. Just comedy. Like, these are real comedians. And I don't know if this generation has really been exposed to actual real stand-up comedy. I think a lot of the comedians that they have now became like Twitter and Instagram funny, and then they transitioned to stand-up, and that's okay. That's a new platform. But I do think that there's something to be said for those comedians who had to like rough it in, you know, in the clubs back in the day and didn't have Instagram and Twitter to kind of blow up. You know, like you really had to like
Be funny.
try.
You
Yeah,
really
well,
had to be funny.
you couldn't just delete the tape, you know, if it wasn't funny and like start over again. You had you went out and you performed, and
You had to
what you
keep
got
going.
is what you got.
But that's one of my questions, I guess. And a lot of celebrities have been talking about it lately. Some of those celebrities really did need to be canceled. But is cancel culture dangerous, right? Because this new generation is swift to come in and cancel someone that they don't like, right? That doesn't agree with what they're saying. And so this has kind of been going on a while for in the celebrity community that says cancel culture is dangerous. And I think it's starting to teeter on taking things too far. These kids don't know about Apollo Theater. I mean, you would get booed off the stage. Booed off the stage. And these sensitive people.
Don't forget
Yeah.
With the Sandman dancing, boo you.
I'm like,
and the whole crowd.
Yes. They had
y'all are
dances
too
with
sensitive.
it.
Y'all are too. Listen. You talk about ego being crushed with a theater packed full of people, and you get 30 seconds out, and people are booing you from the stage. I mean, that's this.
Torn, guys. I really am torn with the cancel culture because I do like how, for example, if it wasn't for Mute R. Kelly, which is basically cancel culture, right? I don't know if law enforcement would have done what they did, right? Like it would have kind of like scapegoated. But when they did that documentary, she was like running for her life, like Harriet Tubman, like, but in the same breath, it's almost like if you have a different opinion than I do, then you need to shut up. You're wrong.
Because muting R. Kelly is not the same to me as the comedian, as of Dave Chappelle standing up doing his comedy show. R. Kelly beats women. Like he abused women. He sexually abused children. You know, like he needed to be muted. He needed to be canceled. So that's harmful. Telling a joke is not as, I mean, with those.
But hold on, because like I said, I love Seinfeld. When Kramer
no, they came for him.
said the N-word in a stand-up, we haven't seen Kramer do stand-up since.
Kramer doing Jimmy John commercials.
And that took a while.
Is that him and Jimmy John?
No, that's not him. That's the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, that's right. The brother.
That's not Kramer. Kramer hasn't been seen since. And I asked myself when I'm watching Dave Chappelle, okay, so let me put this in a different perspective. Okay. If I was trying to do equivalent, because I'm not a member of the trans community, but if this was a white man telling jokes about Black people, would I still feel the same way I do? But it's hard because at the same time, I still respect comedy, right?
Well, take it to the level, because you just said a white man. If there was a white man on the same level as Dave Chappelle's success.
Right, like if it was Jerry Seinfeld.
I don't know if that'd be the same level as his success, but okay.
No,
it
is
way more.
Okay, so if Jerry Seinfeld, so then if Jerry Seinfeld would have did the same thing, and then turned it into like with Black people, would you be offended? Because I mean, I do agree with you because I do respect the art of comedy, but I'm also the one that is not as sensitive to a lot of issues as everybody else.
Right.
Like me personally.
I think that is the key right there. I think ooh, I'm trying to decide if I want to get canceled tonight or not. Because I might get canceled.
I got your back. Look, I got your back. You're not getting canceled.
It's okay. Statistics show that there are certain groups that tend to be more sensitive than others, right? And you really can't say much to certain groups beyond we accept, we respect, we support. And if you don't use some of those words, they are swift and in a hurry to say that somehow you're hating or disrespecting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's a problem because, like you said, this is comedy. Comedians for years, way older than us. I mean, Rhett Fox. Like, go back and check what these guys used to do, and they've been doing this for years. Okay, so comedy, I always thought was just say what you want to say within reason. Okay, Kramer, within reason. He knew he shouldn't have said what he said, but within reason, say what you want to say, and it's okay because we're gonna laugh. We're gonna tell some jokes. I mean, I go to comedy all the time, and there's times where I'm like laughing. There's other times like, oh, okay, ouch. But you understand that that's the community that you're dealing with.
How many times you go to a comedy show and they imitate a Black woman? Every time, every show.
Dave Chappelle did it on the show.
Every show. But it makes me think of, I don't know if y'all seen Tracy Morgan stand up, but he came under fire like years ago when he made a joke about the LGBTQA plus community. And he was like, if you can take a dick, you can take a joke.
Was that? I thought that was, yes. Yeah.
That was Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, that was Tracy Morgan. Yeah.
And he didn't apologize. And I don't think he got canceled, but he also got hit by that Walmart truck.
So you trying to say there's no?
No. I say, we may need to look into that.
Oh,
who was driving that truck?
But I mean, what are we really? And again, I'm dancing because I don't want to be canceled. But what are we really saying, though? I mean, there is a certain group where we walk on eggshells for. That we walk on eggshells way more than any other group. I mean, people have been making fun of Jewish people for years. Like, let's just be real about what, and they've never gotten canceled for it. The Jewish community, they're not protesting because of the stuff that's being said. So we understand comedy as to what it is, but we're always walking on eggshell when it comes to certain groups. I mean, if you're gonna be honest about it, again, I'm trying to get myself canceled here tonight. But Sam is talking about a certain group, and every time she tries to acknowledge and mention that group, she's slowing down to make sure she doesn't lose a letter on a group that there are people inside the group that doesn't know all the letters of the alphabet.
And they don't even
if someone calls me Black, you know what I mean, or white people saying Black, I mean African American, we're not tripping over that. We're not, you know what I mean? But yet we are told to walk on eggshells for a whole group that a lot of them don't even know what they're doing inside their own group. And so it's a very hard line. And I don't think we're supposed to succeed with it. If you don't know what you're doing, how is the rest of society supposed to be able to know what to do? We're always going to be canceled. Well, unless you got a piece of paper sitting here. I would have said LGBTQ.
I would like for them to explain what was offensive. So I can understand because, again, like I said, I'm not a member of the group, but from the outside looking in, like even with the N-word, okay, we have to express the history behind why it's offensive. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now people gain, because I was never a believer in, just don't say the word. Like, let me tell you why. Well, I'm not going to teach you. Okay, first of all, because I'm not a history teacher, but you can Google the word, you can find out the history, and it's just not like any other word. It's some history behind it. So I would like to know what is offensive about what he said.
But the thing about it is, to me, it still goes back to the ending of the show, his conclusion,
Right.
because he literally said when he closed out, he said, "This will be the last time I will tell jokes to the community until you come and talk to me about it and we can have an understanding." Basically, understand why I'm a comedian. He called them out. Come talk to me so we can talk about it. Then I'm gonna come back and talk about y'all in the jokes like I talk about everybody else. So right. my thing is, go talk. The man told you, come talk to me.
But if you didn't watch the show, like I'm not talking about this special, right? Because I haven't watched the show. So if you haven't watched this show and you've taken a sound bite that is now sitting on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, because that's the only place where our news comes from, right? Is Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and because there's not real newspapers and magazines and news channels that we can look at. We got to go just get a little 30-second clip. If you watch the whole show and then you're still offended, well, then if the man has told you how to go and deal with the offense and you don't go, that's not on anybody but yourself.
That's why I'm confused, because I saw the 30-second sound bites. I saw that on social media, but I know we were going to talk about it. Let me go look at the show to see where this talked about. I read the articles, but when I watched it from beginning to end, and that ending, why, like, the people at Netflix, well, Netflix said they wouldn't cancel him, but the workers, you want to cancel him. He said, the advocates of the community, go talk to him. You're offended. Go talk to them. Let's have a conversation. Let's sit down and talk about it. But they don't want to do that. You want to automatically cancel. Why? When he said, come talk to me. That makes no sense to me.
And I don't think you can cancel I don't think you can cancel somebody who said they weren't going to do stand-up. Like he said in the beginning, this is my last stand.
Yep.
I don't think it's like find somebody who's retiring. Like, can you really? But I do ask that the youth, before you call this man an old decrepit soul, Google him and look up his history, because y'all talking about Dave Chappelle like he just is the old, like, has been. It's like, no, it's a difference between has been and a legend. And I believe a legend can fall from grace, right? Like, look at R. Kelly. But you can't take away R. Kelly's catalog. I don't have to listen to it, but I can't take it away. I can't take away his accomplishments. And so I find it a little bit like y'all trying to, call a dog a cat. Like, you can't take away what the man has accomplished now, whether you like it or not. It's like Harvey Weinstein.
Who do they have?
He made Titanic.
Who do they have?
They have Kevin on stage, DC Young Fly and his little group, the Wild.
But Kevin and I love
Kevin on stage is not gay.
Kevin on stage though is not.
No, we're talking about comedian.
Oh, but
Kevin on stage is not. I love him. I knew him before. Funny. He is who y'all know now. He's never going to tell you that he is on any level close to Dave Chappelle. I'm going to say it one further. Kevin Hart is nowhere close. If Dave Chappelle's on Earth, Kevin Hart is on Pluto, the formerly known Pluto. Okay, there is nobody who is at. I'm not seeing Cat Williams this weekend. Cat Williams ain't next to Dave Chappelle.
Cat Williams ain't even. Cat Williams had his own fall from grace. That's Cat
Williams.
No,
I think that they're in their own lanes though. Like, I think that that Dave Chappelle has taken more of a Richard Pryor, Dick Gregory, Paul Mooney activism sort of approach. Kevin Hart has taken more of an Eddie Murphy, in my opinion, Hollywood.
I was gonna say it was disrespectful to Eddie Murphy.
Same. But I see where you're going.
I get where you're going.
I'm saying like they're more concerned. Like Eddie Murphy is not activism. He's not concerned with like solving social justice. Eddie Murphy is there to tell jokes, get his coin, and be out. Now I did hear some disrespect towards Cat Williams, and Cat Williams is a legend in my eyes. Okay.
Oh, I love Cat Williams. I'm gonna go see him on Friday. He's coming into Houston.
Jealous because he's not coming to Salt Lake City.
And so I'm gonna go see him. I love Cat Williams. I'm gonna laugh 10 times over. But I think, Cat Williams, I understand that. I think these men would say, hey, I'm not in the same lane caliber as a Dave Chappelle, as a Paul Mooney, as a Richard Pryor. They're going to admit that themselves. So that's all I'm saying is that nowadays, before you go and disrespect a man, just know the resume. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Check the resume.
Just know the resume.
Just check the resume, because some of the younger generation, y'all be coming like y'all tried to come for Missy Elliott. Check the resume.
Not Missy. Come on.
Yeah, like when she came out with like her new album or something, they were like, "Who is this new? What new?"
Missy Elliott and Timberland brought out Aaliyah after R. Kelly. Let's start that far. Let's go back.
Check the resume. Like they're quick to call folks, "Oh, sweetie, all y'all are doing in this generation is making remakes." If we being honest,
everything is a remake.
If we really being honest, all y'all doing. Check out Drake's album. Even though y'all say Drake is old now, y'all taking old school beats from our generation, putting them on, and I sound really old, but it's like In Too Deep, with samples like UGK. They were like, I saw on Twitter, someone's like, well, here's the original song. Like, the song by UGK, Doom Doom Doom, Doom Doom Doom.
Yeah.
Doom Doom Doom. Y'all didn't know where that came from?
I heard one of them today that sampled Ashanti song "Foolish," which also is a sample of Big Notorious B.I.G.'s one of his songs.
Right. Sample of a sample of a sample. Yeah, and y'all over here got the nerve to be angry. Y'all need to spend less time trying to cancel people and more time creating new stuff.
Creating and researching.
And new music, though, if you spent more time creating music and songs than you did trying to have a shock factor at the BET Awards,
or album cover shock factor,
you might actually make it past album 1 and 2.
I wonder who y'all talking about.
I'm just saying, I remember back in the day, we used to call them one-hit wonders. So...
But we still talk about some of them.
I do think that Instagram and social media has allowed and allotted a space, right? And I appreciate that space. But what I don't appreciate is you got it this way, okay? And I got it a different way. And you can't knock the old person's way when they may have had a harder road and paved the way for you
to have it easy.
I'm not gonna say it's easy, but to have it easier than what they had. Like these Instagram comedians, that's great that y'all can do sketch comedy on Instagram. Where do you think sketch comedy came from? Have you watched The Living Color? Okay, bye.
That's still a good show, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But if Marlon Wayans came out and was like, Dave Chappelle did a great job. Who is this? Oh,
well, you know, Damian Wayans did. Damian Wayans did, but Damian Wayans did come and said that Dave Chappelle did a great job and he freed them from slavery. He did a comment on that. TMZ asked him when he was at the airport. So Damian Wayans did a comment and praised Dave Chappelle, which goes back to Keenan. That's Keenan Ivory Wayans' brother, for those that don't know.
Right, but all of them want to be like, oh, the Wayans, they just old people. It's like, y'all don't. They had what, 9 siblings? All they siblings were in there. They made movies. They made a sketch comedy show. Like, they did stand up. What, like, y'all
and their children are doing things now, and their children
y'all can't just disrespect certain people. No.
And in regards to what you were saying, Dave Chappelle was doing this. They're saying that he's doing this for money. I disagree. Like, Dave Chappelle didn't have to do this for money. He did it last one. It was live. He was in Detroit. He was, was on the tour, and he recorded it. He recorded it live in Detroit as part of the contract he did with Netflix.
Did he say, he told y'all that he didn't need any more money?
Yeah, so that's why.
Remember Dave Chappelle. The thing that I appreciate about Dave Chappelle so much, and I'm trying to get to Dave Chappelle's level, just a quarter fraction of it. You just don't care. Too. So when you just don't care, you just go ahead and say what you're going to say. I think he said, I don't need another dime. Right? It's just, it is what it is. And I think that's the problem.
Hey,
he lives in Ohio. Hey, $10 is like $250.
He lives in Ohio.
Let me explain something to y'all. Okay. This may be lawyer in me. Okay. Dave Chappelle signed a contract with Netflix for a guaranteed amount of money. Guaranteed means whether he got up on stage and said yabba dabba doo, as long as he did his special, he was gonna get the check. Now, who y'all need to be mad at is Netflix, because Netflix is basically saying, we didn't pay him for this special. We ain't pulling it till we make our money back. So Dave Chappelle was probably paid
way
years ago when he dropped the first one. Okay? He got the whole check. Okay? So Netflix is the people y'all should be upset about, because Netflix watched the special, played the special, said we're not going to take down the special. And now that y'all done said we're going to walk out on October 20th, they probably have some replacements.
They fired some people too.
Grab your things.
They fired some people.
Gather your things. And then also, this is just...
And you're not going to cancel Netflix though. But you're not, because you talked about Squid Games and you haven't finished its 9 episodes. So
if you're being honest, it's probably not your account anyway.
Oh, on that note, we are at the end of the show, and let's do our rest my case. That's a whole word, because you right.
Can you be upset when you're logging in to someone else's account to watch the special? That needs to be an addendum to cancel culture.
They paying.
You have to be subscribed in order to cancel. Can I get an amen?
Because you can't cancel your friend account. Because you just got the login. You can't cancel your friend account.
So now you mad when the login password changes. Now you deleted your separate account.
Right. Because then you're right. Don't get mad when that password and change, because you trying to cancel. Because that ain't your account. Remember that. You're not paying that $15.99 a month. That ain't you.
Is it $15.99?
It is $15.99 a month. I got two accounts. I'm the honest one. I got 2. I'm paying for my, me and my mom.
Clearly, I don't pay for Jack Dilly Squad when I'm asking is it $15.99 now. So, but I don't offend nobody, so I can always get the password. Hallelujah.
Well, I started off not paying, but then my boyfriend became my husband. And then
So y'all, it's that joint account paying.
Now I'm paying for it. But I will delete your account. Delete. Don't make me upset. Delete. I don't care if you was in the middle of Squid Games. Delete.
Well, on that note, we are at the end of the show. This was a great conversation. We are at our favorite segment, Rest My Case, where we're ending. So, you know what? Before we do Rest My Case, Sam, tell everybody where you are now.
I mean, you can't see. I am in the great state of Utah, and it is freezing here. Like Taria was saying, she was in sweater weather, but she's actually in warm climate. I'm the one that's suffering, okay? That is in the cold.
It's all how you look at things.
Right.
Is it? Because no matter how I cut it, it's still 30 degrees.
Is that the high or the low?
That is the low.
Wait till it becomes the
high.
high. Girl, wait till
That's not bad.
that becomes the high. That's nothing. You good? You good? Mm-hmm.
Y'all pray for me if there are any prayer warriors out there. Because I don't do colds, okay? It breaks out black girl hair, okay?
You get a hat.
Right. But them edges straight. You ain't got to worry about
right, because that humidity.
Right. Them edges real straight and laid.
Thank you. I'm flying home to get my hair done now.
It's a different type of water too, because look at her skin.
Right.
Yes. So this month, in addition to Domestic Violence Month, it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is the month where we get to celebrate, educate, and make people aware of this vicious disease that takes so many people. Black women get a higher rate of one of the more extreme types of breast cancers. And so we need to be very diligent in checking our breast and making sure that we do our monthly checks, making sure that, we not only do monthly checks, but we do weekly and daily checks. And if you do feel something and you do see something that looks different, that you go seek help in talking to someone and getting the help that you need, so that if, God forbid, you are detected with having cancer, that you can be on the other side of it and be a survivor. So hopefully we'll all take a moment during this month and check ourselves. And if we do see something, go see your nearest OBGYN and get the help that you need.
Samantha?
So I am actually resting my case on myself, child. So last episode, I talked about statistics of abortion, and I misspoke in that it's not actually white women who are married who have the highest statistics of abortion. It's unmarried individuals. So here at No Further Questions, we always want to give you accurate information. So I'm going to rest my case on myself. Don't be talking about stuff you don't know, girl. Check, and fact check, and triple check. Okay. So that's my rest my case. I read myself. Child. How about that?
She's been in Utah too long. It's only been 2 weeks.
Oh no, you can still hear my southern twang.
My rest my case is we might be potentially on October 24th collaborating to host our first brunch. So No Further Questions will be in the streets with our mask on, promoting
outside, y'all. We outside.
We outside promoting ourselves. So October 24th, we may be hosting a brunch with some other female lawyers and potential party promoters in the Houston area. So look out for that on our page. And that's all I got. It's October. It's fall. So,
It's the fourth quarter. Make it count.
right.
Oh, and I was gonna say, if you come out to the brunch, you may be able to see Batman.
Hashtag he loves my bald head.
That may be a possibility.
Y'all see my eyes? Watch my eyes.
Because I mean, I do have a post to say if I post a man, it's because he paid for it, and it's an ad. Because I'm only gonna post it. I may post his finger. You see my Facebook post? I said, yeah. If I post a man on my social media, it's because he paid for it, and it's an ad. I'm promoting something.
Y'all, the prayer word.
There's so
the
much.
prayer warriors before.
There's so much.
Just add Brandy to the list. Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
He may make a guest appearance. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
So if you come out, you may be able to see Mr. Batman and Robin.
He may make a guest appearance. But
did y'all see where Superman is supposed to be gay?
Bisexual?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't read it, but I saw the headline.
Well, not Superman, his
son.
His
Okay.
son.
Oh, okay. So the son is bisexual.
Okay.
Yes. So the new comic books will show him in a relationship with a man.
So has Superman's son always been in the comic books? Is this something new? Because I didn't know Superman had a son.
Me either.
That's what everybody is saying, that they didn't know that he had a son. It's the son with him and Lois. Well, I think that they're trying to shift things over, and the DC comics are trying to be more open. And so they've slowly but surely been coming out with different, some of the characters. Harley Quinn, I think, is a part of the community as well. So this is their next big move. There's a lot of controversy.
I didn't feel like that was necessary, not because I care that he's bisexual, but also who cares about Superman's son?
That was my thing.
Like,
that's why
are you saving the world or not? I don't care who you kissing in the mouth. Are you gonna get the villain?
So I think so, because they have the comic sketches that I've seen. He's in a Superman costume, so it's almost like he takes over for his dad, and he has all of the powers, which doesn't really kind of make sense because he's going to be part human, right? Mm-hmm. So would he ever get the full powers?
Yes.
So they're kind of stretching there, and there's a lot of controversy behind this one right here. So
I don't know why they just didn't make like a new superhero, like, because I've never heard of Superman's son. Like, you know how like I never heard of really Black Panther before the movie came out. Like you could have came out with, even though I know Black Panther existed, but you could have created like a whole new like badass character. But it's like I don't care about Superman's son.
That's
whether he's gay or not. I'm just like, where's Superman? If I'm in distress, get Superman. I don't want Superman's son.
Because it goes back
you
to
was
like
raised privileged.
And you got human power. You're human. So how much do you know? How much?
Exactly.
Maybe human
and I know your mama Lois. Your mama Lois is out. Where's Superman?
On that note, you can follow us at No Further Questions on Facebook, No Further Q on Instagram, and what's the Twitter? NFQ.
Oh, NFQ Pod.
And we actually have a new, if you want, you can, I'm not gonna say one, go to our link tree. We have a link tree.
We have a link tree on Instagram. So go to our profile and click the link tree.
And you'll be able to get all of our episodes. If you have Apple, Spotify, Google, and YouTube, you can find us all in one location by going to our link tree in our bio.
Yeah. But let me say this. If something happens to me and Superman is busy, I'll take Superman's son.
Good night.
He wants you.
No, yes, he's bisexual. So
did they say he was bisexual?
He's bisexual.
Yeah,
I thought he was.
No, he's not gay. He's bisexual.
Yeah.
So he may want her.
Follow me.
Well, no, not
Instagram
that way. I'm
Simply
married,
Being
but I'm
T.
just saying, come save me. Like,
I was just gonna say, follow me on Simply Being T. I'm simply being T on Instagram, and come over to my DMs because I really have some more questions about. Let me tell you what we need to talk about. Let's talk about Superman's son, and how he's bisexual, but he's only kissing on men. And I have questions. Okay, I have questions.
How you know he only kissing on men?
I've seen the comic book.
I was like, it does only show him kissing men,
It's only showing him,
but they call him
men.
bisexual.
Bisexual to me just means that you at the I'm about to get canceled again, but you're at the buffet and you're just greedy and you want everything. You want everything.
So
Okay.
Taria really do, like, y'all don't go in her DMs and give her hate. Taria loves the Lord. So don't send her nasty stuff, okay? Maybe the next time. Did you read the entire comic book, Taria?
Not read the entire comic book.
Maybe
it's the
he's
good
some
part.
women in the comic book.
Sam, where are they following you?
You know what? Y'all can follow me to Taria's house to beat her up because y'all about to beat her up, and I want to see it. No, but don't.
She is not a real friend.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna let y'all beat Taria up. I'm only gonna let y'all get a few licks in before I jump in, and then I'm gonna jump in, and that's gonna be it.
You get the first hit if you can have a conversation. What did Dave Chappelle say? Have a conversation with me first, then you can get a hit in.
No.
But I just have questions that I need answers to. That's
She
all
did
I'm
not
saying.
consent to assault, guys, so do not hit her.
Listen, yeah, I'm too old.
Because I will lock you up. Okay,
You
I will call the popo.
I was saying, I'm calling the police. I don't fight anymore. So
911!
I'm old.
Black eye and all. That was her. That was him.
Let me tell you, I'm from the streets, man.
See, I didn't grow up.
I don't call it popo.
Just call me Karen. Just call me Karen. Hi, 911, emergency.
They gonna come fast too, because Taria know how to code switch. So they gonna come fast.
And where she lives. No, they gonna come fast and where she lives. So
They probably gonna be downstairs.
They probably already down the street. So, and then you can follow me at Brand_Janae or at the Old Fashioned Barrister and follow along about my adventure on the best old fashions in the city, state, and the journey of bourbon. So.
Yeah, she likes to drink, y'all. That's it. You can follow me at the adventures of being a coach's wife and my life in law, having a job while my husband coaches football. How exciting.
In the snow.
Is that a real Instagram?
No, but I'll start one. I'll start it.
Life in law, is that what you said?
No, I said the black bell on the lake. Black bell on the lake. But I haven't started, so it's none.
That's what you're gonna call it?
Yeah, black bell on the lake. I thought about calling it the bell on the lake, but I want it to be distinctive.
I'm following.
I'm still deciding. But this is such a great show.
Yeah. All right.
And we're out. Until next time. Goodbye.